What's good, everybody? Everybody wants to own real estate, but most people don't know how to get into the game on the basic level. Today, I'm going to give you guys 5 powerful real estate wealth strategies that the wealthy use. All right, not the average person never really hear about it, or they're not really taught that. Okay, so family, I just want to let you guys know. Most people think that real estate is just about buying a house and paying the mortgage that you got for 30 years, maybe 50 years with Trump in office, right? But that's just a beginner level of thinking. Now, you got to think of real estate as an investment, as an asset. All right, one of the greatest wealth building tools on the planet is real estate. All right, and that's what you guys want to utilize that, right? You want to use that as a strategy. So today I want to break down 5 powerful real estate strategies most people don't know about, and if you apply these correctly into your own particular asset category, your portfolio, you can actually change your financial future. All right. So the first strategy I want to talk about, guys, house hacking. All right, house hacking. What house hacking is basically that you living in one property and then you rent out the next one, or let's say you got your house and you rent out the rooms. Okay, so if you're a single guy or single lady, you got some girlfriends from sorority or something, I don't know, whatever you got going on, right? But some friends that probably want to look for more affordable housing, right? And y'all hang out all the time anyway. Why not rent out your rooms to them? Okay, so you got a mortgage. Say you got a $200,000 house that you're staying in by yourself. That's gonna run you about $1,500 a month. Well, if you got 3 bedrooms inside that place and you rent out this room and this room, $800 each. Now that's $800 for each bedroom. You sharing space with 2 other ladies or 2 other guys, but it's $1,600 that you're collecting from them. They're getting a cheaper spot to stay in, to crash in, because $800 is cheaper than you're gonna find on rent out here in these parks today. Nowadays, a 1-bedroom apartment is gonna cost you, unless you're in Alabama or some, or Arkansas or some very, even parts of Mississippi. Now Mississippi been running up too lately. So most time, most places, most markets, a 1-bedroom is gonna run you at least $1,000, $1,200. Especially if it's an apartment or definitely not a house. Right, so you could buy your own house and then you could rent out the rooms to somebody. It's cheaper for them to stay in there. You're collecting rent from them. That $1,600 is going to actually cover the mortgage payment. Now you're staying there rent free. That's house hacking. Or you guys can buy a duplex or a triplex and do the exact same thing. You can rent out an entire unit that way, not the rooms, but an entire house. You got a triplex, then you're staying in one apartment complex, one bedroom, 2 bedroom, but then you got 2 separate 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms, whatever amount of bedrooms you have in there, that you can rent out to a whole family. And then that rent can cover the entire mortgage of everything. So that's how you house hack. So that way you're living for free. You can even turn your basements into it. Like some people, that's one of the really, really good strategies, buying a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. And then, but it has a big basement, or it has a big garage. Then you turn that garage into multiple bedrooms. And now instead of you having 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, now you got a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. You convert it to that, and now it's worth more because it's gonna praise for more. You can rent out those rooms once again. So there's different ways you can kind of. That's the beautiful thing about real estate. That there's different ways you can kind of, pretty much cut out the deal, right? So that you can make some money, be profitable from it. Very flexible in that sense of things. Okay. So you want to look at real estate as an asset and not a liability. When you stay in it for 30 years and that's all you're doing is paying a mortgage, that is a liability. You have to stay somewhere, correct, but that's money leaving out your pocket and not money getting put in your pocket. Okay, so you want to house hack it, have other people living in there, so that way that you can actually put some more money into your pocket. Some people even do this. Some people even they get a place, they don't live in their place, they still go out and rent, but they got somebody else living in their place that they bought, charging them more than what it will cost for the mortgage. And now that extra money that they got for that, let's say for example, they got a mortgage of $1,000 and they charging that person $1,500. That's $500. And if they go find a place to rent that's cheaper than what their mortgage is, right, then that can cover most of their rent. There's different ways you can kind of flip the script. So there's things you can kind of do, some ideas for your head, some tools for your tool belt, right? Using business. The second tip I want to talk about, or strategy, you want to use business credit for real estate, not personal credit, unless you just got to. That's emergency only. If you use your personal credit is going to tank after it. If you use business credit, then it won't even reflect on your personal credit score. So you'll still have a 700, 800 score even after you max out those business credit cards. So that's the way that you really want to go about it if you want to leverage business credit when it comes to real estate. All right, so you can access to funding. You can use line of credit to cover your renovations. You can handle the down payments a lot faster on those owner financing deals that we talked about in our other videos. Please definitely check those out, right? Or and you can scale faster when you leverage credit, right? How long would it take you to save up 50 grand? But you get approved. I just got my client approved for a 50K Chase credit card just yesterday, right? Within hours. So just think about it. You know, she can use that to leverage for real estate or whatever she want to do with it, but that's the point, guys. You want to leverage your credit. It gets you to where you want to be, the destination, a lot quicker than you would you saving up your own money. Not to mention, if you use a business credit card, then you're going to be 0% interest for the first 9, 12, 16, 21 months. Okay? So you're not paying any interest on that money for those amount of months. So if you get your deal done in time, it's literally nothing out of pocket. Just pure profit. Okay? Using other people's money. So food for thought. Right. Another strategy I want to talk about is the number 3 is the BRRRR method, the BRRRR strategy, right? And what it calls the BRRRR strategy, like BRRRR man, I mean Gucci man, but it's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. Okay, so basically you're gonna buy a property, most likely ran down, all right, because you get it for the low. Owner finance is one of my favorites way of doing it because it don't cost nearly as much you would if you try to go to a bank. If you go to a bank, they're gonna want 20% down for the conventional loan for the property. But if you do it on the financing, I ain't giving this person no more than 10% down, maybe even less than that. You know, so depending on how desperate they are about getting rid of it, right? So you put 10% down. Now you got control of the property. You bought the property, so to speak, right? You owe a mortgage to the owner or to the bank. It's one or the other. If you do owner financing, you owe the mortgage to the owner. So you pay them. And it doesn't show up in your credit report, nothing like that. Pro tip, okay? Next thing you got to do is rehab it. So you rehab it. You know, the first R in BRRRR is rehab. And that's basically, fixing up the property, right? So you go find contractors out and about who do that particular, who got a good track record, right? And you pay them they have them send you an invoice that you can pay, and you pay it with your business credit card. Another reason why you want to leverage funding, right? And we have that here with Sims Legacy Investing. But you use that business credit card to pay the invoice. They get the work done, right? No money out of pocket for you, right? And if they don't get the job done correctly, guess what? You can get it right back. You can cancel the invoice. It's a business credit card, so it comes with its own liability protection. So if that contractor don't handle business the right way, you can do a chargeback and get your money right back. You always want to do that with a licensed contractor, never somebody who just smoked Joe on the street. Because you can't get your money back. They do that junk, they out. They want to get paid cash, and they don't do the right thing half the time. So food for thought, unless you find those good guys. The next R in BRRRR is rent. Okay, so once you rehab the property, it's good to go. Now I'm about to go rent this thing out to get some cash flow, right? So you get the cash flow from the rent to now pay the monthly payments on the business credit card until you eventually do the next step, which is refinance it. Okay, so the good thing about buying a house that's toe up from the flow up is that you get it from dirt cheap, right? But now you put in some business credit, which is cheaper than you would if you was to buy a brand new one. You'll put that into renovating it. Now it looks pretty, looks nice, pretty. Okay, you go rent it out to somebody. So now you're collecting rent, cash, and your cash on this property already before you even do anything else with it, right? And the rent is going to be more than it's going to be the monthly payments. The monthly rent is going to be a lot higher than what you're paying on a monthly payment for the property with the owner financing with the owner and the credit card payment that's on 0% interest. So, do the math. So if it's 0% interest, that means you got $1,000 card. The monthly payment on that card is $10. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you want. The next step, you're going to refinance it. Now, after the property's been renovated, it's going to be worth a lot more than what you paid when you got it. So now you go to the bank with your good credit because it hasn't been touched at all because you use business credit the whole time, not your personal credit. So you still got that high 700, 800 credit score. You go to the bank and say, hey, I got this house. It's nice and renovated. I want to take out equity against it. They're going to say, cool, let's get the house appraised. Now, the house is going to get appraised for more than what you put into it because it's a newly renovated spot. Of course, you want to look at the comps in the area. You want to look at what houses in the area, what they sold for recently, so you can get a rough estimate. Can't be no more than a mile apart. Get a rough estimate of what it's going to be worth on the back end. But he's going to praise it. He's going to praise it. And if you do your research right, it's going to praise for, $100,000, maybe $150,000 more than what you put into it. Okay. Now the bank is not gonna get. Now all banks are different. All banks are different. If you living in the property, they give you up to 100% back of what the equity is. 95% for most, but 100% for some, right? Now, if it's investment property, meaning it's not a primary place where you live, then they're only going to give you about 70%, maybe the highest thing is 80% back of what the value of the house. So if the house valued at 100,000, 80 grand is the most you're going to get from that property, and in the form of it's a form of a mortgage against the property for the next 30 years. Okay. Now, when you do that, that equity, the 80 grand they gave you, is a lot more than the money you put into it. At least it should be if you did your math right. So you take all that in your pocket, cash money, and guess what? It's tax free because it's a loan. But you're probably thinking, well, I got to pay that back. There's a mortgage on it. You're right. But the mortgage is for 30 years. Okay. So it's going to be a very itty bitty. And if you did the market right, then the rent that you're collecting from the tenant that you put in there is more than what the mortgage is going to be. So you'll still be cash flowing. Okay. The tenant's going to pay your mortgage for you. All right. So, and then the last R inside the BRRRR method is repeat. You take that equity out, you roll into another house. Do it again. And that's the key with real estate. Once you find a strategy that works, you don't keep doing different things. No, you stick to that one strategy. You just do it over and over and over and over again. You flip up, which is what they like to call it, right? So you want to get to a bigger property. All right. So find your model that works and then execute it over and over again. The fourth strategy I want to talk about is buying in a growing area before everybody else. That's really hard to do. You gotta have a good eye for knowing what's gonna make this area really pop. The best way of figuring that out is by going to the Chamber of Commerce. There we go. The Chamber of Commerce. There's one in East Town. And you'll go to those meetings, and those are all local business owners talking about what's going on, right? And so you go to the county courthouse will also have a 20-year plan, basically a 20-year plan of what's going to be developed in what area before it's 20 years ahead. So you go find out what that area is, and then boom, now you can start investing in those areas before the time comes, right? So they call it a 10-year, 20-year plan, development plan. So look into that. So yeah, you want to look into new construction. You want to look into new businesses. What businesses are starting up in these areas. You want to look into highway expansions. You want to look into shopping centers, population growth, where everyone's moving to. Like Atlanta's overpopulated right now. So I just wanted to say that, you got to look into those things. All right. Those are some things to kind of give you a better idea on what's an upcoming booming area. And last but not least, number 5, we're going to talk about Section 8, affordable housing. Now with Section 8, here's the thing. It got to meet HUD standards. Okay. So you can renovate your property, but if it's not energy efficient, having energy efficient windows and stuff like that, if it don't meet HUD's requirements, then they would deny you. So all HUD does is they do a walkthrough before you get through. It's not really that tedious, but it is. Okay, so like you have a property manager who will be there to walk the HUD manager person through, the HUD inspector through, and then whatever they say got to be fixed, the property manager will take notes of that, and then you get the contractor to go fix it up. And now it's ready for it. Once it passes the inspection on everybody's account, now you're good for HUD housing. You got to get vouchers. So I like to let my property managers handle that. I always ask them when you get a property manager, you always ask them, do you have experience with Section 8 clients? Do you have experience with evictions? How long does it take in the city for you to evict somebody, get them out the house? That's important. And because if they're like California and letting people squat in the house for a year, and I wouldn't want to have that problem. You know what I'm saying? I want a place like freaking Cleveland that you get someone evicted out your place within a week, 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And typically, you know what I'm saying, you want to talk to property managers who have experience with that. They give you an accurate amount of what that takes. Okay. So yeah, guys, I mean, that's just pretty much a good some good tips for you guys, some good strategies for you guys when we move forward. As you can see, we're very, very deep in this real estate game. We've been doing it for years, since 2014. And if you want no more tips like this, to definitely follow, subscribe with us, simplexinvesting.com, and just subscribe us on the video, man. And let us know in the comments what more you want to learn.